Welcome to Kitset Performance, and today I thought we'd have a look at my 1984 Mitsubishi L300 Express 4-wheel drive. Bit of a rare animal, this one. I mean, there were a lot of them around in the 80s, not so much the 4-wheel drives, but if you run into people at the gas station, they'll always say, oh, my granddad had one of these, or my dad had one of these, and you open up the door and you can just smell the 1980s pouring out. It's a smell that's engineered and you can't get rid of it. It's quite a nice smell. It's not like, your granddad's house with mothballs. It's quite pleasant. A little bit Japanesey in a weird way, but totally recognizable. And it's kind of it's part of what makes it special, I guess. It's lasted 40 years. It still looks great. It's barely got any damage on it. According to a previous owner, it really hadn't even been off-road in its life. It's got a crazy story. When I first bought it, I actually almost bought it a few years beforehand, but missed out on the sale. And during COVID, I found it on the street, and I didn't know it was the same car, and I put a note on it to purchase it. And once I got to it, I realized it was exactly the car I wanted. So I bought it off the guy, had to pay a bit more than I was going to originally, but it was a COVID project. And when I went through the ownership papers, I found that it had actually been sold brand new in the same suburb that I lived in Brunswick, in Victoria, Melbourne. So it's kind of found its way back home, and that's why it's a special car to me as well, and won't be leaving my fleet anytime soon. I've got a lot to do with it and to do on it, and it's almost a family member. Anyway, we'll swing the camera around and have a good look at it. Oh, funny enough, we actually have two here today. This is my one here. This is my friend Kendall's. We'll have a look around his. This is an SD model, mine's an SC. So I've actually put it on a bit of a jack stand so we can have a look at it in the air. That's pretty cool. Quirky thing. Very happy looking from the front. It's cocking a leg right now. These have ladder frame chassis, so we can have a good look under it. You can see it's a proper 4-wheel drive. It's got a pretty heavy duty diffs. We'll have a look at the rear diff, but that's a beast. It'll handle a lot. Transfer cases, skid plates, the works. We'll have a good look around it. It gets a lot of attention because it looks like a happy van. I think it's the colour as well. In the summer I put a rooftop tent up there. I built a tow bar for it so we can tow with it as well. That's great. So if we open it up, came with a border collie. If we open it up, it's very 80s in here. So down to, you can see a digital clock, still works, does what it should do. I've put the fluffy dice in. Have a good look at the dashboard. Look at that. So I'm going to squeeze it down there. 352,000 Ks. Classic looking dash. Unfortunately, it's the only thing really wrong with it is broken the bottom of the console piece there, but I can build all that again. It's not a problem. We've got 4-wheel low, high, 2-wheel high. Came with a really incredible tape deck system actually. So you can put a tape in here. It does auto reverse. Got Dolby, but crazy enough, the person in the back seat can listen to a completely different thing. So it's got a radio here too, and the person in the back has the option to listen to the radio or a tape, and then you got storage under here, which is quite nifty. Go around. We'll let the border collie out. Now, when I purchased the car, the seats, I don't think they'd ever been used. As you can see, it's it's all in tip-top condition. Now this is what I was talking about with the stereo. So you've got your own controls there, and you've got this really nice little fold-out table. But in here, this is a bit of a surprise, and I'm not sure if there are any of these that survived apart from mine. Still in its original packaging, we've got headphones. They plug in, but even more interesting than that, the headphones are, I guess you call them pneumatic. They're actually, if you look at them, the hollow tubes, and they have the air comes through from the front, I guess the front speakers, and they travel through and they just literally funnel the noise, which is really interesting. So we put that away. Now, because it's a four-wheel drive, you're going to go camping, right? We've actually got a lever down here. I might not be able to do it with the camera, but you can put that down. I'll just put the camera down for a second. As you can see, supposedly this is a flat bed. Now the back seat also comes down, or the back seat folds down and then flips up, so you got more space in the rear to for storage, which is actually really handy. So you can do multiple things. It's really easy to just take the seats out. Actually, it's just a couple of bolts, and then the whole thing comes out. But if you can do a lot to prevent that. So front seat can move around, fold down and fold up. This one can fold down and then rotate over, and it doubles the rear storage. Or you can just take them out and run it like a cargo van. But yeah, as you can see, it's pretty tidy in here. It's got a little PowerPoint set up here with the rear speakers and cigarette, which is cool. Another rear table right there. And then we can look back to the front. It's the 80s. You could be smoking a cigarette, but as you see, it's never been used, which is pretty interesting. So we'll go have a look at the other one. Kendall's is this one was found in a field. Now, funny enough, it's only got 130,000 Ks on the clock, but she's a bit sunburnt, a bit blistered. He's doing the same thing. He's got a similar roof rack to mine, spare tire on the back, and then we've got it's quite hard to see, but you can see it's got the stereo in the same place, same seats, all of that. The only difference with this one is it came with a piece of trim here, and the Mitsubishi badge is higher up, and then the front air dam is actually a different design. So if you look at them side by side, they're actually slightly different cars, but they're essentially the same van bodies. You can't really get parts for these anymore, but what we found is that they still sell these cars brand new in the Philippines. They're slightly different, but it means that we can probably get headlights and tail lights and indicators and things like window seals from Asia. So that's our next move. We're both pretty excited about that. So here's a hint that something has been modified in mine, and that's the I've got a side exit exhaust. It's even got a second battery box there as well for camping. But you can see the ladder frame chassis. So we'll flip open the seat and have a look at the engine. Okay, welcome to my Frankenstein. I'm not proud of it, to be honest. You know, you start these things and it's funny at the time, and then you get a year in and go, far out, why didn't I do, you know, more work cleaning the thing up, or why didn't I do it properly from the word go? But It's kind of the way my mind works, unfortunately. And now on round 2, putting a new engine in, it's going to be a super slick loom. Everything's going to be tidy, but and some of this isn't my work, to be honest. It's the work of a previous owner, but which is the wiring part near the battery. Let's have a look at that. It's actually pretty funny. Down we come. Now this is the battery, and as you can see, there's just stuff everywhere. There's relays and wires, and I know this car from the back of my hand, so I can tell you exactly how it all works, but the next person wouldn't have a clue. So here you can just sort of see the 4G62 in there. There's a brace that comes across. This is the only thing that didn't quite fit, was I had to cut and weld and sort of make a bit of an extension on that brace, but that's the Starion turbo there, and no mods at all, it just bolted straight up. I had to create a new exhaust which comes off the downpipe, and that's why there's a side exit. But as you can see, here's my new coil, and it's just sitting there. It's not going to go anywhere, it's fine. The Frankenstein intake, I put a little arrow there. I didn't need to see it, but I thought, if this was ever up, people find that kind of funny, just following the airflow in and then airflow back out. No intercooler, which is why it runs ethanol. And if you can see a little bit down there, you can see a yellow wheel. That's the trigger wheel. So we'll go around the other side. And this is another example why this car is proper as well. I mean, Mitsubishi built a waterproof system here for the air intake as well, just higher up than the waterline, which is, we're quite high up, to be honest. So they did it was a good helping hand. So we've got a map sensor hidden behind the air filter there. Right here there's a flex fuel sensor. And then this is the Cordia throttle body, so you can see the little blue thing sticking out there. That's one of the injectors, and the other injector's on the other side. So it's not much larger than the original carburetor that sat there. And then the throttle body manifold just bolted straight up. And that's why we love Mitsubishi, to be honest. I mean, they probably did it to save money, and everything was, a match. All their blocks were just like, okay, well, let's keep developing it and making it better, stronger, faster, and then it helps people like us who are modifying the things later on down the track. What else we got? So with the EFI, we've got an air fuel ratio gauge, and then with the turbo we've got a little boost gauge here. They're all pretty subtle. And then if you open up the glove box, as well as Bryan Adams, we've got a micro squirt sitting there as well, which is mega squirt based ECU, and then a ton of wiring that goes through. But all of that's going to get removed and tidied up, and we may even run drive-by-wire in this, which will be quite interesting. So, what's it like to drive? Awesome. I own a range of cars and have had a lot of cars in my time. Right now I've got a 90s Range Rover, which is pretty damn good. I've got a mid-90s M3 Evo 3.2, and that is awesome. But this car, I drive it every day. It's just fantastic. It does everything. It makes you feel good driving it. I don't know why. It's smooth, you're high up, it's happy. I don't know if you can see, there's a dog in the back. I can take my dog anywhere. In the summer I put a rooftop tent on it. We go camping. The family jumps in the back. We love it. I guess it's a family member more than it is a car. They've all got personalities, but this guy, he loves life. So yeah, all I can say is I highly recommend vans to people. I never got it before, but now I really do. And the driving position is sort of in between a car and a van. Like the steering wheel, it's on a tilt, almost down like you'd get a car, but it's sort of halfway. The seat's really comfortable. Headrest, I mean, you can adjust all of this as well. It's a bit odd. You've got the engine right under your bum. In fact, I've got a turbo literally right under my ass, which is pretty strange. But, you know, there's something cool about that. There's a lot of length. I can go to Bunnings, I can throw a bed in the back. I mean, we use it for everything. I had an engine in here yesterday and dropped that off within 5 minutes and then fold the seats back up and it became a people carrier again. So, yeah, it's all part of it. So, let's take it for a drive. Have a chat about it. Outside for a long time and the paint was all chalky. The engine started, but it would smoke, like a lot of smoke, just blocking traffic behind you, and I thought, well, it's toast. But it was during COVID and I needed something to do like we all did, and I thought, oh, this is the project. I'll just make it work. I'll rebuild the engine if I have to. But the first thought I had was maybe it's a valve stem seal, so pulled it up, opened the rocker cover for the first time and did that operation, and funny enough that actually fixed what was wrong. It was slow as a snail. Ended up the brakes were semi-seized, so unseized those, and it didn't really help. It was just naturally bloody slow. Got the carb rebuilt, and after I got the carb rebuilt I took it away with the family first time, and I was averaging 16 litres per 100 k's on the highway. Like, you can almost see the needle dropping on the fuel gauge, and I couldn't get more than 80 k's an hour out of it. It was just dismal. You know, it's to the point where you want to sell the car again. You go, it looks cool, but is there any point in owning it if you can't actually go somewhere? So I kind of had a thought that Mitsubishi at the time, maybe there's parts that are transferable. I knew the Cordia turbos were a 4G62 and the 4G63 was the Starion, and the Evolution 1 VR4s. I mean, Mitsubishi carried that same block from 1970s through to early 90s, 93 or 92 for the Evo 3, where it turned into a 7-bolt, and these have a 6-bolt flywheel. Anyway, sure enough, I found a throttle body for a Cordia. I'm like, okay, well, there's 2 injectors, and it's basically a carburetor with injectors in it. And then I got online and found a Starion turbo, and I'm like, well, that works because Starion's a rear-wheel drive, so the turbo layout might fit. And I tell you what, it was like Lego. I just unbolted the manifolds, bolted on the Cordia side, bolted on the Starion side. This is a real Frankenstein. I wanted it to be, so I even found rusty tubing and created intake pipes from that. And then, because I was really getting into Mega Squid at the time, I wired up an ECU, got rid of a distributor and put a crank trigger in, and the thing fired straight up. And I tell you what, it took a while, but you know, I was learning, figured it out, and I reckon I doubled the horsepower. And that's not saying much because these were supposed to have 80 horsepower, and I reckon I had 40 of those left. It's done 352,000 k's, had 337 when I did the conversion, and you know, she's tired. She doesn't smoke or burn oil, but she wants to retire. Anyway, now I'm like forcing life into it with induction, and I mean, it's actually pretty good. Like, if I put it down to second now, you can hear all of that. It's, you know, lots of whizzes and bangs, and it keeps up traffic. I can get on the highway, I can do 120 and not be too concerned. It likes to cruise at 100, but yeah. The crazy thing is I've had no issues. It's just run like this. I beat the shit out of it for 13,000 k's, like literally challenging it to brake, and it won't. I mean, tune it quite safe, and because it's an NA engine, we actually got a little bit of debt there, but I run it in the city on E10, so it's got 10% ethanol with a flex fuel sensor, so it knows what it's doing. But if I take it away, I tend to put half a tank of E85 into it, and on the highway it just means that it can be on full load going up a hill in 5th gear, and you don't get any detonation at all. E85 tends to give you sort of 20% more power, naturally cools the engine. It's actually, like, for a turbo engine, a really good way to feed what you're doing, you know, give it a longevity, so to speak. People talk a lot of shit about it, but it's really just the rubber parts that degrade. If you leave E85 in your fuel tank for 6 months, it can turn to water and rust, but you know, the secret is just keep using your car, no problems. So I've been running E85 or E10 for a couple of years, and I've had zero problems, nothing degrading. I've got steel fuel lines and a compatible fuel pump and things like that, so it's okay. But it's running Cordier injectors from 1984, and they haven't failed. So yeah, it's all part of the fun, but it really is a Frankenstein engine. The coil broke on the car a couple of months ago, and I didn't know what to do. I couldn't figure out if it was a coil or not, but I took a risk and changed the coil, and it actually runs better than it ever has now. But funny enough, I just couldn't even be bothered mounting it, so the coil is just resting on top of the engine and sliding around, and I think it's just the ignition leads that are holding it in. So it's really the car that I'll do anything to, and I'm not afraid of doing much to it. And I knew I didn't want to mount that because I knew I was doing a conversion soon as well, and that's what this video is about. We're going to take the body off this car, because this is the great thing about this van. Let me just take a bit of history about it before we delve into that. So this is an SC model. There's an A and a B before this. They started in the 70s, but the SC, I presume this is basically when Pajeros were out and about, 1984. I think the Pajeros around the early 80s, maybe 82. They were starting to do really well in Paris-Dakar and in competitions, and people were seeing how capable they were. There's a turbo whining away like a ghost. Anyway, so they created this van, and what makes this van different is this four-wheel drive. But it's not just a car they designed and put on the market. They made a really good four-wheel drive. So this van is on a ladder chassis for one. So I mean, they're not light because they're very strong. They're, very thick steel beams, so on. It's got twin torsion bars on the front, so you can wind the front suspension up and down. Springs on the back, but leaf springs as well. Solid axle. It's got four-wheel low, four-wheel high, and two-wheel high, but it's also got auto lockers on it as well, so it's a bit like having diff locks. They're pretty capable cars, and I've taken this off-roading, and it went up anything. Like, I couldn't believe it. In low range, it's incredibly low, and it will just crawl its way out of anything. But like, if you look at the way this thing is built, everything has been considered really well, and it's designed to go off-road. It's designed to be in bad conditions and survive. It's a testament to the build quality. I mean, 1984, what are we, 40 years old, and the whole dash hasn't got a crack on it. The seats, unfortunately, it lived on a farm and it got eaten by a rat. The guy was charging up a battery and the rat got in and decided the seats were pretty tasty. But if the seats weren't eaten, they'd all be in perfect condition as well. The bottom of the dash here is broken, and they all break because your knee hits it. I've got into this car a few times, swung myself in and shattered what's left of the bottom. But that's okay. I've got all the pieces. We can fiberglass that back together again, or 3D print. All is fine. But yeah, that's the history of the car basically. Like, they went to SD, which is similar to this one. Then you get the SJs. That's a newer, rounder shape, but probably more famous on the internet is the Delicas or Delicas, or however you want to say it. And and that was sort of a rounded 1988, 1990 jelly bean type van, and that was, you know, full four-wheel drive as well, but I think they only came out in autos, whereas these are manual, which is really cool. But yeah, going back to what we're doing, and knowing that Mitsubishi had a 6-bolt mains and a 4G62 block that was also the same as 4G63, I hunted down a early Evo / VR4 4G63 twin cam, and that incredible engines, and the heads on those are better than the later model Evos. They flow better. And so I rebuilt that engine, and it's got forged internals, so forged pistons, forged rods, standard crank, new race bearings in it. The head was beautiful, didn't need touching, so I left that as is. It just means I'm going to leave the original turbo on it too. It just means that we can wind up what we have already as a standard engine, so standard configuration. But you know, those turbos should be good for 300 horsepower, and I don't really want to go above 300 horsepower in this. We'll be pulling wheelies, you know, it'll be like a boat. It sits pretty high as it is, but there's nothing wrong with having 300 horsepower in a 1980s van, put it like that. So that's the goal. And I'll retire this old girl who, I mean, sitting at 352,000 Ks, has had a pretty good innings. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much the driving experience. It's got large wheels on it, standard brakes. It really doesn't need much more than that to have a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll just cut now to the installation. Recording, Gus. So are you excited about Vanana?
Very excited. 2 days.
2 days?
Transformation.
I think body off today. Should be cool. So you're gonna put the hoist under the van, and we're gonna lift this sucker up. Ooh, that'll be exciting.
We'll see how much rust is underneath, not just on top.
Oh Christ, that'll be project over.
Yeah.
Shit, I don't think she's ever been this high before.
Depends what kind of high you're talking about. And then
Let's have a look under.
Just before you go under, I'm just going to push it down.
Why?
Just so it locks. Here we go.
Yep, yep. Alright. Now, it's this one that I was worried about. But we're on, which is good. And that one, we're on. Holy moly. Alright. Now it's just a matter of finding body bolts and what's connected to the body and taking it off.
How are we looking here, Steph?
It's not a great time to talk. I had a really relaxing lunch, and now this is what I'm dealing with. It's like Goldilocks' ponytail, but it's not going to save the day.
Ooh.
Anyway, this will get, once we disconnect all this shit, there's only a few other things to pull out, and then we can rip the body off.
Body off today, or are we looking at a different day?
No, I think it's today.
We have to do it today. We have to do it today.
Even if it's 1 inch in the air, it's a success, right?
I think. Hey, look, an inch is good.
An inch is a mile in this game. Let's be honest. But I'm gonna say this is a win. We're getting through. Oh god, if you're OCD, unsubscribe.